Hey everyone, welcome to another wonderful episode of the Wicked Wilds Campfire Tales. Before I get into my normal thing, I just want to mark this glorious occasion. Uh, Tonight's Campfire Tales marks a milestone that we have reached. That, if we're all being honest with ourselves, why did it take us so long to get here? Tonight we're going to be going over a legend. It's got a little bit of incest.
Just a
Everybody,
little bit.
everybody, give your no, yeah, maybe like 42 incest. Everybody give yourself a little round of applause because we made it. We're big timers now. Hey everybody. Like I said, welcome to Campfire Tales. Joining me tonight is Dave. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing well. For anybody who's actually watching the YouTube video, I recognize that I made the rookie mistake of wearing a green shirt in front of a green screen. So you'll be dealing with the floating Dave head and the Jotun monster for the rest of this episode. You live and you learn.
I always heard the floating Dave head. I heard that was some kind of weird college drinking game.
It was the name of my punk band.
Oh, right on, right on. Also joining us as always is Jeff. How you doing, Jeff?
I was doing pretty good until you told me there was incest on here, and then yeah, pretty much that's it for me. So I'll see you guys later.
Listen, you can't deny this is a milestone that if we're
You
all
better be
being
careful
honest,
what you say next. You better be real careful
all
what
I'm
you say
saying
next.
is this is a milestone. I mean, if we're being honest, like the fact that it's taken this many episodes for us to reach there, like you're being honest, like it's kind of impressive.
I don't know if impressive's the right word I'd use.
I would compare it to a corn cob covered in peanut butter and birdseed.
I don't know if it's that good. I mean, that was. I figured that was probably the top of the pile.
Also, I do want to say, talking to Mary, her school also did a craft like that where they would just take peanut butter and make birdseed balls with it. But that's just the same thing I did minus a step.
Birdseed balls.
Yeah, just saying, just saying. But also joining us tonight is Jaime. How are you doing, Jaime?
Hi, I'm doing pretty good.
You ready to talk about some weird stuff?
I think so.
Jaime, let me get your
I
opinion.
feel like that's my answer every time.
Yeah, you never want to give
It's
it
like a
definitive
hesitant,
yes.
like, yeah.
Let me get your opinion, Jaime. Are you surprised that it took us this long to get to a story about some incest?
Yeah, I figured this was already covered. Like maybe in like episode 2 when I wasn't.
See what I mean? It's a crazy. We took so long to get here, but I think we're ready for it. I think we've all matured over these last however many episodes to handle a story of the nature we're going to cover tonight. As we all know, last week on the main show we covered The Descent, a movie about goblin-like ghoul creatures eating people in a cave. So I went to my mole kingdom, talked to my mole peeps, said, "Hey, I want to top The Descent. Give me a story that's got all these things from The Descent, but it's better." Which is hard because The Descent was really good. And they came out with a wonderful little legend. Tonight we're gonna be talking about the legend of Sawney Bean. Have any of you heard of Sawney Bean before?
Nope.
It almost, like, a lot of people don't realize a lot of like horror movies and stuff like that was actually based on old Sawney Bean.
I'm not gonna lie, when you texted me that, I misread it and I thought you said Sean Bean. And I was like, wait a minute.
One does not simply walk
Yeah.
into Sawney Bean.
Winter is coming indeed.
I'm going to tell you the tale of an actor who does a bunch of TV series where he
Right.
dies in the first episode.
Poor Sean Bean, incest and gets his head cut off.
You know what? This the Legend of Sawney Bean is kind of like a Game of Thrones plotline, if I'm being honest.
I was just gonna say I'm looking at multiple images here of different movies and TV shows with incest in them, and there's a remarkably large amount of Game of Thrones references. Because basically that's kind of all that show's about. Like,
All I'll say is I'm really excited that I don't have Jeff's browser history now.
hey, I'm a pro at Google.
There are some
searching,
things I
so
can
there's
explain.
yeah,
There are a lot of things that I don't think I could.
Just think of the things you've all had to think about, look up, and Google since we've been doing this because of me. You're all welcome. You're all welcome.
So many lists that we're on now.
That's all right. That's all right. So let's get in it, shall we? So the legend of Shawnee Bean, according to legend and lore, Alexander Sawney Bean was the head of a 45-member clan, which happened to be all related, in Scotland during the 16th century that lived in a cave
Dave, I
and
think
was
he's talking to you.
believed to murder and eat over 1,000 people in a 25-year period.
I don't see the problem.
16 what? When did you
The
say?
16th century.
Seems like hard to collaborate those facts.
So we're talking Shakespearean times.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're talking Shakespearean times. Hey, there's a lot of facts I'm going to tell you tonight that you're going to find a little odd, but you know what? Worth it. Because not only do we have caves, ghouls, eating people, and incest, we also got that the first time you dated a goth person and how they turned you down a wrong road. That's also in this story. This story's got a little bit of everything. A little bit of live, love, and laugh. You know what I mean?
So I don't remember the movie that much, but was it about incest?
No, there was no incest in The Descent. No, I just wanted to include that in there.
All
I
right,
wanted to
so
add a
you
little extra.
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
a
just
full-on
wanted to-
Eli seasoning.
Okay,
I'll put it
got it. You
You
just wanted to come, but you just want to pull something out of
Listen,
your hat.
I
Got
couldn't do something equal. I had to do something better.
it. So are you implying that goblins are incestual? Were they goblins? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
but they said they look like ghouls.
Was Bonnie Sheen a goblin?
No, they
Bobby
just said
Sheen.
they look like. Oh man, look at you,
Jeff, your job for the rest of the episode is to butcher that name in as many different
I
ways.
already forgot it, so I'm not even going to attempt
Yeah,
it.
same. I couldn't even tell you the right way of saying it.
Hey, listen.
Tawny Katane? Was that?
Wait, isn't that the guy on Saturday Night Live?
No, that was
Chris
Chris
Kattan.
Kattan?
Yeah, that's Chris Kattan.
Settlers of the Catan.
Oh man, this is gonna be so good. I'm so excited. So, according to legend, when Sawney Bean was a young man, he was from a very poor family in a village, and when he grew up, he was destined to follow in his father's footsteps of being a ditch digger and a hedge trimmer. And it was noted that he made it very apparent early in life that neither one of those professions was for him. I can't blame him. I also wouldn't be excited about trimming hedges and digging ditches.
Yeah, but I
Gonna
mean,
say,
what
fair
else?
enough. Like,
What else are you going to do in the 1600s?
also true. Touche.
It's either that or like horse shoveler or whatever. I don't know.
Wait, do you like shovel whole horses?
I guess I'm not a
Smallpox
farmer. I don't
victim.
know. Yeah, like my day job is being in the Iron Lung. Like, whatever, like,
Well, this is before Iron Lung.
oh, I'm sorry, Professor.
Yeah,
Pete.
Jeff, gosh.
Listen, this is like the plural of meth heads all over again.
I won't stand for this.
Well, hey, you know what? Here's the exciting part of the story, because to me, this is the first instance I've found of finding that person who's goth and dating them, and them just leading you down a dark road. Because a short time into his ditch digging hedge trimming career, he met a local woman who his whole village believed was a witch, and her name was Agnes Douglas, but the village called her Black Agnes because she studied the black arts, they believed. He met her, quickly fell in love, and they started a courting. In their time in the village, after they started a courting, the town became much more upset about her witchy ways because they said people were going missing, children were going missing, and
People and children?
people and children.
Why was it just when they started dating they got more upset about it? Like,
Because the scale of the and also like crops, like they said the crops were dying, they had bad weather and stuff. It all started increasing after they started dating.
was she from that village or whatever?
Yeah,
town?
she was.
Well, then she was there the whole time. So why?
But it started increasing.
She
when they
gave the
started
wrong
dating.
person the stink eye. Let's just be
That
honest.
seems
That's
weird.
Well, I
that's
think
how
there
most
might be
witches get to.
a little to it because Black Agnes also tried to get regular day jobs and found that she did not have the stomach for it. So her and Sawney
To
decided to
work,
quit.
shouldn't have the stomach to work.
That's what I was thinking.
pretty much,
That's
yeah.
me. That's me every day. I don't have the stomach for it.
But we also agree that you're a witch, Jamie. I mean,
Oh wow!
all these things
Whoa.
alone.
I'll take it.
Well, let me
Exactly.
ask you.
Do you weigh
this-
as much as a duck?
Whoa, whoa, Look at you. Like, that's a personal question. You don't ask somebody that.
You ever watch Monty Python?
Yeah.
Very small rocks.
Let me ask this, Jamie. You said you also don't like to work.
No, does anybody?
Well, no. But have you ever thought, well, if we're not going to work, we might as well rob and murder people?
Interesting thought. Sometimes,
So-
I'm like, you know what?
You
If
know
I
what?
don't work today, if I just go outside, maybe just like bring a knife with me.
You might actually. You know what? We might be with.
I'm just kidding.
Are you though? You
For the
what
record,
you said.
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's too late. It's done. Because Sawney and Black Agnes decided, well, we really don't like our day jobs, so we'll just rob people, and that's how we'll make our living. But very quickly, they took it a step further. They decided to start robbing and murdering the people they robbed. And the town was becoming more unsettled because now there was more missings going on. They were finding dead bodies. And then one day, the two decided, well, let's take it one step further. And they wanted to see what it would taste like to eat the flesh of some of their victims. And they realized very quickly they loved it. And so now the town was not only finding dead bodies, they were finding dead bodies that had been munched on. Even back in the 16th century, that was frowned upon.
Wait a minute. They're not just killing them.
And what got real weird is it was at the point that they started seeing the bite marks, they then started suspecting that Black Agnes might be involved more than ever. And the heat was on, and they were concerned that, obviously the town might hang them or something. So they decided to leave town and look for prospects elsewhere.
Wow, that was the end of the story.
That's yeah. No,
that was awful.
no. So basically, what they did.
You know
was,
what? This guy's first name was Alexander too. I'd appreciate if you addressed him.
He went by Sawney.
It was quote unquote Sawney.
Yeah, but he
All
went.
right.
That tells me he went. by
Not one
Sawney.
time did
It
you
was his
mention
nickname.
Alexander.
I did at the very beginning. I called him Alexander Sawney Bean.
I don't know if she did or
It's
not.
probably just easier to call him Alex. Let's just
Yeah.
call him Alex.
Yes,
Sawney.
Alex.
Everybody knows him by Sawney, though.
This is him
Oh,
right
wow.
here. So big Al.
Listen, that's like if the series, like Michael Myers from Halloween. If
I
you
call him
found out
Mike.
if his first name was Herbert, and they're like, but no one calls him Herbert.
When
I'm
you
gonna
call
call
me-
him
He
Herbert.
says, "When you call me, you can call me Al."
Oh
This
my
is the backhoe argument all over again. This is the thing we get hung up on. We've already talked about them killing and eating people.
Said, "Hey, I could be your
But
long
no,
lost
we're
pal.
not calling him
Yeah.
by his first name. That's a
You
problem.
can call me Betty.
Mhm.
Betty, when you call me, you can call me Al."
Well, I feel like there's going to be many more arguments coming because eventually in their travels, they decided that they didn't want to give up murdering and eating people. And they were looking for like kind of the perfect hideout to live in that they could be safe to do their activities. So they come across the area of which I am going to just butcher the shit out of this.
Sweet.
Banani head? Banana head?
Banana head, yeah.
Banana head?
It sounds just like his name. Now
Which it was like a coastal area in Scotland, Banana Head. They found a cave on the coast that they thought they could live there, and they also found that during the high tides, the tide would actually raise up and cover the entrance of the cave. They thought it'd be hard for people to find them and get to them. So they literally moved in this cave, and that would be their home for the next 25 years. Now, don't know if this was their best option, decide to be cave people, because over the next couple years, at night they would come out, murder and rob travelers on the road, because they kind of the areas between two like kind of towns, and dragging their bodies back to eat in their cave. They had children. They had 6 daughters and 8 sons.
that's a lot living in a
But-
cave.
When you live in a cave and you eat people, and your parents are murdering, like your one mother's a witch, and your dad's just lazy and didn't want a real job, so he murders them, kills people, and eats them. Dating prospects must not be very good, because then the sons and daughters decided, well, fuck it, we'll just start dating each other here in this cave.
Well, I mean, do they ever leave the cave? I mean, it makes sense. This is
at
their
night.
only.
At night
Oh.
to murder and rob and eat people.
Yeah, so they obviously can't date the people they're eating. So
Right.
That's problematic.
That's a
Agreed.
problem.
At least not to the third date. I mean,
All I can think of is what was his name? Old Greg. Do you like me? Make an assessment.
And
You
know
don't?
what's-
Hack.
You know what? I'm also gonna bring up. I'm gonna bring up a little math here, right? So there's $6.
Get your abacus out.
Oh, I was about to.
There's $6.08, right? Not equal footing. Only one of the children was ever known to be like, well, this is fucked up, I want to be part of it, and left. That was one of the daughters. So technically there was 5 daughters, 8 sons in this cave. They managed to produce 14 granddaughters
Oh my gosh.
and 18 grandsons.
Holy shit.
So you had over 45 people living in this cave.
not much
All-
else to do in a cave.
All related.
All related. All I would argue super related.
Did they make,
Yes.
did they make bird feeders?
They might have. How was going to attract birds, you know? So they all lived in this cave. And at night, as the clan grew, they would all work together at night during the low tide. They come out of their cave. They would stop travelers, rob them, murder them, take them back to their cave for food and eat them. And that's what they did for 25 years.
And then they moved to Switzerland and started a village called Harga.
Yeah, no. Sadly, the story doesn't go that way for them because, here's the other thing about this story is it also shows you a little bit about just how dumb justice was back during that time. So during these 25 years, a lot of people were going missing, right? And like they were getting the local magistrates and like soldiers and the law involved, and they kept realizing, well, what's between these two towns is where these people are going missing. Also, they started seeing body parts float up to shore. And during the early part when like this started becoming an issue, it is on record that a few of the men goes, well, should we check that cave over there? And someone said, well, no, because it's closed off during high tide. No one could live in there. There's probably nothing in that cave.
These were stormtroopers, right?
Well,
Door is locked. Move along.
maybe, because then their next big idea was, well, who was some of the last people to see these folks? And they go,
They're
Oh.
killer.
the innkeepers. They must be the killers. And they hung many of innkeepers over the course of 25 years because they were convinced that it was them.
Sooner or later, you'll get the right one, right?
Well, I think that's what they were hoping. But hey, there was a big break in the case 25 years later. Because one night, a newly married couple decided to go out riding their horses at night, celebrating their blissful love, and they were out riding. They were on their way back to the town, to the inn, when all of a sudden, these crazy cave people attacked them, obviously to rob, murder, and eat them. But what they didn't suspect, the gentleman had a sword and a gun with him, and he started fighting them. But they had sheer numbers on their side and what some may call incest strength. And and they
I don't know what it is.
you know exactly what it is.
Whoa.
And but the numbers overwhelmed them, and they killed his wife and was dragging her to the shore, and they wounded the man, and they were about ready to do the killing blow when it just so happened a couple of guards were heading on their way back to town and come across the scene in which all of these cave people got scared, ran back to their cave in plain view of these soldiers. So they hurried up, grabbed the man, rushed into town, got the magistrate to recount it, and they're like, that must be what the issue is in this cave. But where they were concerned was because the one guard was like, they looked like monsters. They looked like ghouls, he described them as. And he said there was a lot of them, maybe 50 or 60 of them. The magistrate was like, well, that's more than what we have in this town to go handle. So they actually went to the king, and they're like, this is a situation going on. We think there might be monsters in this cave. So the king did what I found to be a very rational decision. Sent 400 soldiers
Sweet.
to this town to go in that cave and get out what was in there.
They were going to get stuff done.
So the way the story goes was that these cave hobos saw the soldiers there, and they're like, "Well, no point in us fighting," and they literally just sat in the cave. And then when the soldiers went in the cave, they found the family sitting there. But there's record of a lot of the soldiers describing this as the most terrifying scene they'd ever seen in their life, because when they got in this cave, they found these pale, kind of dirty, ghoul-looking people sitting in this cave that was filled with bones, rotting body parts, and large slabs of meat hanging on the wall, which looked human.
Because they were.
Yeah, because they were. So they arrested all of them, dragged them out of the cave, took them back to Edinburgh, where the king was located, because the law was they were going to give them a trial. When they got to Edinburgh, the king decided, well, what they've done is so evil, we're not going to put them on trial. We're just going to execute them. But in a manner that would even make the film Braveheart blush, because they wanted to send a message that, hey, we don't stand for cave-dwelling incest cannibals.
And the rest of y'all out there living in caves and eating people.
We got your number.
We frown upon that.
You listen to this tale of woe. First, what they did is they took all of the men in the family. They cut off their feet, hands, and genitals and let them bleed to death. And it is reported that right before Sawney died of blood loss, he screamed out, "It isn't over. It will never be." And then he bled to death after having to lay and watch his genitals, hands, and feet be thrown into a fire. Once all the men died from bleeding out, they then burned all the women at the stake, because they believe that is how you kill evil.
Quick consensus of the group.
Mhm.
Which of those two executions do you think is worse?
I don't know. I was actually just thinking that as you were saying that, because first I wanted to say the burning is better, but it's not, because it's long, right? So yeah, they're both long, and probably, I would assume you go in shock once you start cutting off body parts. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the better way to. That's the better way to
burning
go.
would be a way worse way to go.
Yeah. I don't have experience in this, thank God. So,
Sorry.
but,
I was just curious.
I burned myself with like a curling iron, and that's rough.
Yeah, that's equivalent. So I don't know.
That's the baseline, right?
I
where we
know,
start.
I know Jeff and I didn't give an answer, but I think Jeff, you're on the same page as me. I'm just not going to eat people in a cave, so I never have to do that.
Pretty
What's your starting
pretty easy to
point?
avoid that fate, I'd say. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Just not
just
going to do
don't
it.
live in the 1600s and don't live in a cave. I think we're good.
So that happened. Here's the little kind of ending to the story. Now, this story, there's a lot of twists and turns and craziness, and like there's a bunch of different versions, but like this seems to be the most like accepted version. But where this gets crazy is, if you remember, I said earlier, one of the daughters decided this ain't for me.
Just one.
Just one. And
I'm out.
she went to another town to try to start a new life. And she kind of became famous in this town because she planted a tree in her front yard that like grew these like weird things off it that everyone called the hairy tree.
I
I
don't think they know what that means.
the tree looked hairy. I don't know. So this came out, like it started spreading around the villages about the Bean clan and what they did, and somehow people put two together that one of the daughters was living in their town, and they were convinced that she was still helping or that she was going to start doing it in their town. So one night, almost everybody in the town got together, and I like how it's described in all the records as they angrily marched to her house, pulled her out of bed, and hung her from her own hairy tree.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm more interested in what a hairy tree is in this story. You know what I mean?
They just said it was a tree like that grew bark that looked like hair.
Let's see.
Are you
Which
gonna look
means
up a
it was
hairy
a
tree?
pine tree. Is what
Probably.
it was.
Search private.
Oh, you're gonna get some results.
But they wiped
Let's
out.
stay away from Urban Dictionary.
Yeah, I would suggest the phrase that you put in for your search is hung hairy.
Yeah.
tree.
No, I don't like it.
That seems like a trap.
There's Harry's Tree, which is a story by John Cohen. This is like a fairy tale. I don't know if I can safely try to find a hairy tree.
I think that's the key word there. Safely.
Yeah,
So the whole thing was only 25 years, 3 generations, right? So, right. I mean, the original, and then you said they had kids, and grandkids. So, like, it's not enough for them to also mutate besides incestuous genetics.
Listen,
but
I'm sure
for
these
them
were not the
to-
most beautiful cave people.
no, but I'm saying they didn't start adapting to. I mean, they didn't start
Jamie's thinking
growing
crawlers.
things. Yeah, they didn't start
they were just
evolving into a.
like they described them as looking ghoul-like. They said they were very
Well, yeah, because they live in
pale,
cave and they don't.
skinny and dirty, and like I like some of the records I said that some of them even claimed that some of the smaller children were feral, which is why they went ahead and executed all the children as well.
yeah, they lived in a cave.
Yeah,
and ate human beings. They were all feral.
But the story don't end there, because apparently
But they're all dead now.
They are, but apparently because one of the nicknames for old Sawney Bean was the demon
Alexander. Oh, sorry.
or Alexander, and they believe that if you should never go in that cave, especially alone, because if you go, their spirits are there, and some of his family they didn't get all of them. They believe there was more. Because what else are you gonna do in a cave? You're gonna get eaten. So people are afraid of that cave still. Even though I couldn't quite pinpoint where exactly that cave was, doesn't seem like anybody knows. But don't go in, they said. Because
So just don't go in any cave, just in
not
case.
Scotland, you just avoid all caves.
Yeah, that
around
they all
Banana
okay.
Head,
Oh, the
Banana-
banana area. Got it.
Banana Head.
Banana head.
Banana Head.
So you're saying that there are people who believe that 500 years later there are still descendants of this clan living in the cave.
Yeah.
Here's a real life picture of them.
I was going to say, with that much inbreeding, they would just be piles of hairy pudding. Wouldn't they?
Out of the hairy trees.
I mean, would they though? I mean, have you ever seen The Hills Have
don't
Eyes?
know.
Have you seen The Hills Have Eyes?
I have.
Yes.
This is basically
Is that historical, factual?
basically
information?
classical Hills Have Eyes. Yeah. This is like Wrong Turn, just not in West Virginia.
It's mixed with the descent.
I was going to say, Hills Have Eyes has a nuclear exposure kind
Yeah.
of thing going on too. It's not just 500 years of.
Well, but he married a witch,
Parentage.
bro. He married a witch. That's like demon nuclear. These were literally witch spawn.
Okay.
What do you expect? Like, I'm surprised these kids didn't have like bat wings and stuff.
You don't know they didn't.
Yeah. I mean,
They didn't say they cut off.
nobody
bat
got
wings.
that close enough. Oh, I guess when they killed them all, never mind. I was like, nobody got close enough to know.
I don't think you know how witches work, Eli. Not sure.
Listen, I just know from many a film and TV shows that I watched. A lot of
Okay.
it's funny that like one of the inspirations they said The Hills Have Eyes was Tale Sawney Bean. One of the Wrong Turn was one, but that was also based on a real family in West Virginia. We'll get into that one day. And
The
then
Blakes.
whoa, whoa.
Got him.
And then also a little fun thing people don't know is that serial killer Ed Gein, who is famous for turning people into skin suits and potentially eating them, he liked to read stories of adventures and encountering cannibals, and apparently he quite enjoyed the story of Sawney Bean.
It'd be right up his alley. That would make sense.
Would be. Now, I am disappointed to say, I did not find a record of them like using the human skin as clothes or like to make hats or anything. But apparently, they would just throw the parts they wouldn't eat just right out their cave hole and it would
Like
just
a cave hole.
wash
Is that like
away.
is that like a sub hole?
That's
Yeah,
a
it's like a
sub hole.
and it would just float like
Different
right,
version.
right up the shore, and still for 25 years, people are like, can't be coming from that
I was
cave.
going to say they're really good at keeping this low key, weren't they?
They're like, you can't be coming from that cave. Can't. Nothing
That-
like
That's
nothing
like a
could live in
long
that
time
cave.
to just not care about the cave. Like,
Well, they
Just
said
ignore it.
because
It's
at high,
just-
they were convinced that at high tide, because it was closed, the water covered the entrance, that it meant the cave filled up with water, so nothing could live in there.
doesn't
Perfect
make any
logic.
sense.
It didn't make any sense. And I mean, now after this is all said and done, how do you go back to those innkeepers, their families, and be like, hey, we've
I was
killed
gonna
like
say, you,
11
I was gonna say you don't go
innkeepers.
back to the
Yeah, you're
innkeepers
just like-
because
Yeah.
they're dead.
Sorry. Sorry. We killed all these like 11 innkeepers. We can't have an inn in these towns anymore because we thought, it happens.
Seems
I don't
like
think
that.
they care. cared,
I mean, you don't really care about much in this.
Based on how, based on a lot of things are going.
Right.
They didn't care about all these people. Really, they didn't care about the cave. What was going on in the cave?
Right.
Right.
They're like, oh, I got 20 years to live. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
I'm 14. I
Yeah.
have 2 years
Right.
left.
I made it to the ripe old age of 35, you know?
Yeah, my kids are starving. I've got the bubonic plague.
Yeah.
I really don't care what
Yeah, it's
happens.
fine. No, nobody stays at that guy's inn anyway, they said. Nobody cares.
Oh my god. Oh man, that's
So, is this who Sloth from Goonies was based off of?
I don't think so. Surprisingly. I don't
No,
think so.
he was more of a Frank and Beans kind of guy.
Like him
Yeah.
beans.
You know, Sawney Bean. You know, he wouldn't have been mutated though. He was normal,
Yeah, he was there.
Yes, he
the
was very
first,
normal.
Yeah,
Yeah, normal looking. His whole thing started because he didn't want to work. Started dating a goth. We've all been down that road. And you get introduced to some things you never introduced before, and you're like, well, that's where I'm at in my life now.
Eli, it just sounds like you might be working through some personal stuff in this story.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm related to every aspect of the story, okay?
It's okay. Just because you maxed out your Hot Topic credit card, you don't have to. You don't have to take it out on old Tawny Sheen over here.
Yeah.
Listen, bro, okay? I always paid it off, all right? Always paid it off. How else was I going to get my ironic tees and my band tees?
Mhm.
Your Harry Potter
Your,
merch.
Yeah.
Black platform shoes that with thigh length hosiery or whatever. I don't know.
My PVC pants.
PVC pants. What's that mean?
Like those plastic pants they used to sell.
Made of PVC?
With all the
like
zippers on
PVC
them.
plastic, yeah.
like the
They were
UFO
plastic?
pants, like the UFO
Yeah.
pants, which
I don't know,
were
man, I
not,
must
but
be
yeah,
honest.
like
They're-
it
I didn't
depends
know
on
they
what year. I mean, you're talking like. I also
Jamie can
I
give you
used
the
to work
rundown.
there.
It's a very close window for the
I only
PVC
worked
pants,
there
I
for
guess.
like 2 months, but
I will
Were
say
you
this.
there in the Jinko days?
no, but I was a Jinko wearer. Jinko days are before I could be
Oh.
working. I was too young.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I was wearing them and shopping there, but I couldn't work there. It's too-
I hope you're wearing green shoes, Dave, so that I can see when you put it in your mouth there.
Oh!
Oh.
Hey, I applied to Hot Topic twice when I was in high school because I would get my band tees there. I was an emo kid. I was
Yeah,
a scene kid,
yeah.
And where I grew up, that's the only an hour away at the one mall. That's the only place you could get like those type band tees.
It was
Which
the only
mall- which
place
mall
for
did
a
you go
long.
to, the
It's the only
Uniontown
place
Mall?
for a long time.
No, not Uniontown. Oh God, no. We got Morgantown.
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm from West
Oh.
Virginia. I'm from
Yeah.
Uniontown. Yeah.
Listen, we had
Okay.
class. Okay.
Yeah.
Morgantown, where the good golden crown.
Yeah, where the
Exactly.
Golden
'Cause that's the other
Corral.
place we go to Golden Crown. Like there wasn't a good.
I wonder
Golden
if that's
Corral.
where wonder if that's where your teacher got the corn pops from
Probably.
for your arts and crafts adventures.
But I applied to Hot Topic twice,
Mhm.
and both time when I applied, the manager goes, "Would you be willing to dye your hair or get facial piercings?" And I said, "No."
Really?
And then I didn't
For
get
this
the
job?
Either
For
time.
They
this
don't.
minimum
That's such a.
wage
That's
retail job?
bullshit. They don't do that.
Listen, no, you don't understand though. Like with people that worked in this Hot Topic were one of like 7 people that lived that life, and like all of them that worked there, like it was like
Wanted you to convert. Yeah.
It was like a cult because there was always 7 of them because like those people like they had to get a crowd because where we lived like if you don't have a crowd you walk out in public at, that's a good way to get your ass whooped. Like even like the emo kids were like, and we we weren't crazy, like we didn't go as like as hardcore dressed as goth, but even us they looked at us like don't
You're on the edge there.
get
I
don't
was
get out
only
front of
there
my
for like
tractor.
2 months, and it's the only time I ever worked retail. But I will say, compared to other friends who worked retail, it was the best store you could get stuck in working retail because your whole attitude was to not give a fuck, basically. I mean, obviously, customer service had to be number one, but your whole attitude was not questioned, and your dress code was not questioned.
Right? Yeah. Did it though? Like, did it have to be number one? Or like,
and the music was whatever we felt like playing, and you know.
Hey,
I was training horses or digging ditch or pitching hay, or maybe if I was lucky, working a roof crew while y'all were working at the Hot Topic. So I really don't have anything to contribute there.
Training horses.
Actually, when I was working Hot Topic, you probably were already working. I worked Hot Topic actually out of college because I needed a job, so I was late.
Yes, Jamie, I was already married and working a full-time gig when you were working at Hot Topic.
Hey.
Let that sink in. That is correct.
In all fairness, Dave, I was doing those same jobs too, but the difference is local farmers don't pay very much, and I was trying to go to college.
Hey, local farmers that you're related to pay even less.
I know that too. Does lunch count as a paycheck? Because that's some paychecks I've gone before. We made you lunch.
How about I not smack you in the back of the head? You're welcome. That's the kind of payroll you get after.
And because Hot Topic denied me, I had to go work the second worst job of my life, which was Old Navy, and I did not fit in there.
Oh, wow. God, Old Navy instead of Hot Topic. That sucks. See, I feel for you.
That's a hard left turn.
I didn't fit in there.
That's no Hot Topic. That's no throwing T-shirts across the room.
They didn't like me because they wanted you to ask every person to sign up for their credit card. And I was like, they look like they're 7. We asked everyone.
I feel like I missed out. I never worked any retail jobs.
Oh, it's the worst.
It is. I mean, I can't even say I did because, like I said, it was like 2 months, and it's the only time I did it.
I'm done with this.
Like, I know people who did it for a year, you know, and it's just like, luckily, that was the only time I just needed a job.
That was the worst retail job I ever had because it had a public bathroom. And
the big Old Navy, like oh God,
they have janitors, so we did that. And like every day it looked like a war went in there. Like people were fighting to get it out. You know what I mean?
My only retail experiences in college, I did wait tables, and I think everybody should do that at least once in their life.
I have not done that, thank God, because I don't. There's no way I could handle that.
Yeah,
I worked at a restaurant when I was in high school. Yeah. I spilled ice water over a lady, and then I quit.
Oh yeah, I've done that several times. A couple of times, even accidentally.
Yeah.
I worked at a restaurant when I was in high school for a little bit. I started out as a dishwasher, and like they closed at 9, but they said, well, if you're a closing shift, we don't get out till like 2. And I said, in the morning? Like it just takes a while to clean up.
Yeah.
And I realized,
then you go get drunk.
Well, I realized it's because the people that were there, they would like fuck around and like go out and smoke cigarettes and like they'd hang out and laugh and like make themselves snack or whatever. And I was like, I'm not staying till 2. And like I would just go to try to get all the, you know, dishes and stuff cleaned up. And then they went to the boss and complained that I like washed dishes too fast, and I got promoted to host.
Host the sea life.
You were blowing the curve.
Got a whole 15-cent an hour raise.
I guess I take that back. I worked at AT&T, but that wasn't really like it was retail hours, but it, you know, wasn't like a
tech retail. Yeah, like a
I don't know if y'all saw the Ryan Reynolds movie Waiting, but that's the most accurate environment.
Long time ago, but yeah.
Working in a restaurant.
Yeah, I feel like if you knew even 1/10 of what went on in a restaurant, you would never.
Oh, absolutely not.
Like it's so you just kind of put it out of your mind and go to Applebee's.
You make the conscious decision.
I'm not going to say on the recording because I don't want to get sued. But the restaurant I worked at, I will go and eat there, but I only eat certain things.
What do you eat at Shoney's?
We didn't have a Shoney's, bro. That was too fancy. I was upscale. We didn't have
Shoney's.
Yeah, that was upscale. We didn't have the fancy restaurants. You know what our fanciest restaurant was?
Golden
Corral.
Yeah, we all,
Well,
we know what it was. You don't have to. Well, you're not going to bait us into this nonsense again.
Corporate sponsor, Golden Corral.
If you made the trip to Morristown, which like for us was like an hour, right? But not too far from us, Texas Roadhouse.
Oh,
that's where you took all your dates. If you couldn't go to Golden Corral.
Was that the peanuts on the floor days?
Yeah, it was.
You're pretty proud of that.
Yeah. And you tell a girl like, "Hey, you want to go on a date?" Like, "Oh, where do you want to go?" I'm like, Texas Roadhouse. With the cinnamon butter.
Big spender.
Yeah, let's go to Texas Roadhouse. I'll even get a bloomin' onion.
I thought a bloomin' onion was Outback.
Yeah.
Or what they call it at Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, they had the
I
same
don't
thing.
know,
They call
but
it.
it's not a bloomin'
They
onion.
have a bloomin' onion, but it's
Damn
called
well
something
better.
else.
It's definitely
It's
not
like-
called a bloomin' onion because
like-
that is probably
Oh,
copyrighted, trademark.
a cactus blossom. Call it a cactus blossom.
Which sounds disgusting.
Yeah.
So good, though.
Well,
Tastes
it's like
so
that boy
good.
roughed his cactus blossom over there.
I mean, bloomin' onion isn't a great name.
Yeah, that's not great either.
Describes what you're actually going to get.
Well, does it though? I mean,
Yeah, a cactus blossom is what you're going to get in that same alley that we talked about with the turkey
one
handles.
bloomin'
Sheila?
onion coming up.
Oh, listen, let's be honest. A Texas Roadhouse is a little above Sheila's pay grade. She couldn't get a job there.
I don't even know what Texas Roadhouse is.
What?
It's a steakhouse.
Yeah, it's
And
a
they cook everything in
steakhouse
bacon
chain.
grease.
yeah, they do literally. Yeah,
Everything's cooked in bacon grease. It's so good.
Hmm.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, Jamie's very
I
impressed.
can't eat there anyway.
Their rolls, that cinnamon butter. Mm.
Yeah, they've got yeast rolls that everybody likes.
A little bit of cinnamon butter you put on there. They're hot.
I don't know what any of this.
What does this have to do with the
Sawney Bean.
cave? Yeah.
Well, because we're
Like-
talking about eating people.
Isn't-
And it made
isn't
us
that where-
hungry.
And it made you hungry? That's
wasn't this? I thought this whole episode was the origin of Texas Roadhouse. Wasn't that what?
His great
Is that where it
Texas
came from?
Roadhouse.
I thought that's what we were
One-
talking
the
about.
one
recipes.
child.
They tailored them a little bit as the years
Yeah,
have
yeah.
gone on.
Gradually tweaked it a little bit.
One child has managed to escape the cave. He goes, I must repay my family's debt to society.
I must
I
teach
will-
the people my ways.
I will create the most glorious deep fried onion and call it a cactus blossom. And I will feed the masses.
You sure that's what it's called?
Yeah, it's cactus blossom.
I can't. I don't know.
You want me to double check?
You might want to
Yeah,
look
I'm-
that up because I'm not sure if that's what it's called. That doesn't sound
I'm not
right.
ordering that for
Yeah.
sure.
Like a
Here, I'll look.
what's something a tunyon, tunyon or something. I don't know why I got that.
No, it's a cactus blossom.
Cactus blossom.
Yeah, cactus blossom.
Weird.
But is it an onion? Is it just like the bloomin' onion?
It's the
Yeah,
same thing.
it's exactly
But they
deep
call it-
fried.
the
like-
fuck is it called a cactus blossom?
because bloomin' onion was already
Onion was there.
Yeah, but
What
Well,
do
like
you-
why
what
would
do
he
you
just call it?
Yeah, but why would you call
it
it-
deep fried onion?
yes,
That sounds
something
gross.
with the right food in
Yeah,
it in
like-
some degree.
Gotta
Like,
give it a
That sounds
Texas term.
gross. That sounds gross. And,
And
a
I don't think
bloomin'
I don't
onion?
think onions grow in Texas. Okay, it's all desert.
oh my
Listen, if
god.
there's three things I know in this world: babies can't walk backwards,
Oh god.
That's
Horses
true.
can't look up. We know.
Horses can't look up. onions don't grow in Texas.
Texas.
The three things I know in this life.
And Bigfoot is 80 feet tall.
80 feet tall.
Listen,
He
I
has,
don't-
his heavy equipment operator license.
wait. How do we know Sawney Bean wasn't Bigfoot?
What?
Because it seems like if Bigfoot's gonna marry a person, it's gonna be a witch, right?
Oh, I
It's gonna
thought
be
you
a
meant he was
cow.
gonna marry
Oh wait,
someone.
it's
Say
a
it,
person.
Yeah.
He's gonna
You
marry
just-
Sawney Bean.
I thought that's
proved
where
your
you
same
were
pain.
going with that. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But like you know what?
Who says Bigfoot's a male?
I didn't say it was
You implied it.
because
Ooh.
no, because I was talking about him dating the witch, and then you said Sawney Bean, who wasn't a witch, his wife was. That's what I'm saying. Guy.
That's circular logic, and I don't approve of it.
Well, if you can't keep up the circle,
I'm not
Get
sure
out
why,
of the kitchen.
why everything goes back to Bigfoot.
because all
Waiting for
roads,
the rest of that statement.
all roads lead to Bigfoot. You know, because think about it, right. Watch. Oh my God, watch this. Right. You had Sawney
Oh,
Bean.
no.
He met a witch, dated a witch, moved to a cave on the water. Right. They were living in this cave. They're saying they ate people and were throwing their leftover body parts out in the ocean. What if it wasn't them? What if they were in the cave because one day his witch wife did a ritual, brought Loch Ness Monster. Whoa, Loch Ness Monster's eating people. One day, one of the children jump out of the cave. They decide they had enough. They're gonna fight Loch Ness Monster. They get pinned to him like Captain Ahab, Moby Dick.
What
Where does he
the
take-
hell
where
is
does he take 'em?
happening?
I don't know what is
Cross-
going on.
Cross the Pacific to the U.S. He managed to wash ashore in the Pacific forest area of the U.S. What happened? Oh, Loch Ness's powers got absorbed in his body, grew a substantially large amount of hair, and grew up between 7 and 12 feet. Everybody sees him. What do they call him? Bigfoot. All connected, people.
No,
I thought you were just
no,
going to say that they all their incest just gave birth to a Bigfoot.
Yeah,
But,
that
like,
would have
apparently
been a much better theory than
Yeah,
whatever
Eli.
nonsense we
needed
just had
this.
to be exposed to for a minute of your rambling. So.
Eli, if you don't mind, I can show you there's a much shorter path to get there that you've already given us. There was one surviving daughter who moved to another city, and what did she put in the yard?
The hairy tree.
Come on, man.
So are you saying the hairy tree was Bigfoot?
This is
'Cause
she
101
grows
stuff. We already
Bigfoots out
know
of the
that.
hair.
That's sadder because when they hung her from the tree, that means they hung her off of her Bigfoot.
Off of her husband.
Yeah, they hung her off of her
well, because
husband.
he's
Bigfoot.
80 feet tall. It's fine.
Oh, that's the
How
saddest
they get
story
up
of them
that
all.
high? They didn't have that tall ladders back then.
That's the saddest story of them all. Literally, it's just Bigfoot just standing out in the front yard. Next thing you know, his wife's hanging off his neck like a necktie.
I mean, it's so obvious. And then you got to consider Bigfoot let it happen.
Well, you know, he didn't know what to do. He's Bigfoot. Yeah.
I thought you were
stand.
implying that the tree grew Bigfoots, like they just fell off and then grew like in
an apple?
Yeah, like I thought that's where you were going with it, Dave. To be honest with you,
You're just like walking by, just be here.
no, it wasn't.
Brushes himself off.
I mean,
Say, which way to Washington State?
I wasn't thinking it was big and hairy at first, but hey, you know, if you want to,
Well, that's
if
even
that's,
worse.
if that's what we're
short
sticking
little
with, then-
hairy, like babies.
Oh, like a little hairy baby.
Oh my God, we're
Bigfoot.
back on the baby big feet again.
Oh my God.
Falls right out, you know.
Hey, here's another question for you. Do you think anybody in that cave knew how to read?
No, what?
No.
Do you think
How
anybody
did
Do you
Yes.
think most of the people in the
Knew how to read?
town knew
Yeah.
how to read?
But hey,
Do you think they knew how to count? They needed an
Listen.
abacus. That's the
Mm.
problem.
Yeah.
wife
But
Made
popsicle
made
sticks hadn't been invented
acorns
yet.
or whatever. What did
Yeah.
you say?
A corn
Acorns? Is that what you
cob,
put
a
on
corn
it?
cob, a corn-
No, what
a
was on
bird
your
seed.
abacus?
They put
Oh, no,
put
that's
beads or some bullshit
okay.
on it.
I thought it was
Popsicle stick.
acorns for some reason.
It would have been better if it was
Yeah, if it was
acorns. No?
acorns.
No.
Oh,
Squirrels get them.
that's too much.
Yeah, whoa, yeah. Whoa.
Oh, that's just silly.
Teacher,
Because there's no
teacher,
holes in
Look at
acorns.
my acorn abacus.
You make them.
He's like, Eli, go to the corner.
That'll be
Where'd you
enough
get
out of
those
you.
acorns?
No corn cob for you.
That's
What do
fine.
you think? What do you think people who live in a cave do? All oh, never mind. They're
Well, I can
procreating.
tell you what.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I
They
think
have like
there's
20.
50
They're
of
like,
them.
they
It's a lot
started.
like what happened when the pandemic hit. You know what I mean?
It's not even just that there's 50 of them, right? There was 50 of them in
That's-
25 years.
there's 50. Wait, the ones that survived.
All
Because you
50.
gotta assume.
Good point.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta assume there were
They were
a
alive.
bunch that didn't even make it because of
There's
everything
a
that's
lot
going
of
on.
Yeah.
So like they were popping them out as I guess as quickly as someone can conceive and come to do like they were
Well,
doing.
hey,
They were.
well, you can't leave the cave at high tide, you know? I mean, can you imagine the smell of that cave?
This is
Oh,
such
No.
a
my
dark
God.
friggin'
No.
conversation.
Oh, I wish that cave smelled.
Oh, we watched a dark movie.
Deep and
This took a
true.
different turn than the
Yeah,
movie.
different kind of dark.
Hey, that's why when I saw this story, I was like, man, this just got everything.
But I'm gonna ask you, Eli, because you would know, and I know you. And this is an interesting
know?
tale to go. But no, I just like is the descent based on anything as far as the
no,
monsters?
they
Because I'm sure you looked it up or like.
so he got the idea from like a bunch of different movies, and
Mhm.
he actually like the monster design. They kind of based a little bit off Dracula, and then like the one costume designer said he wanted to do it based on what would happen to a person
Yeah,
that lived in a cave for a long time, and he assumed like their ears would kind of grow out pointed because then
Like a
like
biology
echolocation.
experiment.
Right, like
Mhm.
bats, and then they're gonna get like this pale, translucent skin. They're gonna go blind because they don't need it. They're gonna have to eat like raw stuff, so their teeth are gonna like get fucked up and sharp.
You mean
Got
like
it.
Golem?
Yeah, that's kind of what they look like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
I mean they do.
do
Yeah,
you
they're
think
like.
Gollum was Sawney Bean? Or one of the kids? Oh my God! We connect the Lord of the Rings. This Gollum was one of the kids of
No,
Sawney.
no,
Bean.
we're not. We're not talking about Lord of the Rings.
I got chills.
We're on the descent,
got-
Eli. The descent only.
Has Eli mentioned he bought a sword at the Renaissance fair when we went?
We've all seen it.
I
Don't
showed
make him grab it. Yeah.
Yeah, I sent pictures. I showed it on air one night. How can you not?
You know that thing from I don't know what was that 2000s where that kid was swinging around the lightsaber.
Yes.
That's what-
It's on Arrested Development too. That's what I think.
I picture Eli in his basement with his sword swinging it around.
Maybe twice.
Do you make the sword noises while you're doing it? Then?
No, because I don't make sword noises. It's
Sure
not a
you do.
lightsaber.
Like a swooshing. Yeah, but you can make like
It
a
makes its own-
sword.
It makes its own swooshing noise.
Oh, you're right. It makes an actual sound.
Why would I make that sound on top of it? You know what? I think we should
Enhance
do.
it. You enhance it.
Listen, I think on Campfire Tales, we're gonna start doing the line of the week. Like so for example, the Bigfoot episode was when Jeff goes, "What's the plural of meth head?" And I think this week should be JB going, "Did you make a swishing noise with a sword when you were swishing it around?" Oh my god, you people! But yeah, I'm the weird one for connecting Bigfoot to a bunch of cannibal inbreds in a cave.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I could see your connection, but you did it all ham-fisted. Like, it was like the worst.
You already
connection
had a
ever.
hairy tree.
Yeah,
right
you
in
had
front
it.
of
You had it there.
Yeah, I
In
forgot.
front of a witch descendant's
literally
house.
right. It was literally
Listen,
right there in
if you
front of
look-
that
but-
lady's house.
Yeah, but it's such a sad story if you go with the hairy tree.
Oh, that's where it's sad.
Well,
Oh,
that's what I'm
okay.
saying.
Yeah.
If you'd like to put a more pleasant spin on it,
Yeah.
it's assume my theory. That's a, you know,
What was your theory? again?
Bears,
That
Bigfoot,
Bigfoot
fruit.
fell out of it?
yeah, Bigfoot fruits.
And they I'm telling you, they would have burned that whole town down for like
How
witchery.
else? How else do you have Bigfoot? Do they procreate? I don't think so. They
Well,
come from a hairy tree. What?
excuse me,
Everybody.
Wait, are we going back to
We
big?
went
No,
to those
yeah.
theories, okay? Either cows,
Cows give birth to the hybrids. We've been through that.
there was hybrids, so they think they were also with humans.
Isn't a Bigfoot and a cow a minotaur? Isn't that what that is?
Is that how minotaurs are made?
Exactly. Yeah. Ask.
Whoa.
Don't
ask
minotaurs
Ooh.
predate Bigfoot?
as, do they?
Yes,
Well,
they do.
because indigenous people in the U.S. had versions of Bigfoot.
But they didn't have minotaurs. That doesn't answer the question.
But that just means that Bigfoot's around. the same
Minotaurs
time.
like mythology, right?
Yeah,
Like,
minotaurs are like Greek
Yeah.
mythology
Yeah.
or something,
But what I'm
aren't they?
saying
Like,
is-
You're
what
like,
I'm
well,
saying is-
when people 10 years ago had
No, listen.
Bigfoot.
Here's what I'm saying.
Oh, they had Bigfoot on the Discovery Channel, so there must be minotaurs.
Here's what I'm saying. So you had the Greeks, right?
But-
They're like,
But
oh,
green
we-
is yellow and blue.
the minotaurs were in Fantasia. I think
Yeah,
Disney.
here-
You don't get it?
hear me
Mr.
out.
Tumbles was a mini minotaur. He must be like Bigfoot. I don't understand what's wrong.
Hear me out, right? The Greeks hated minotaurs, bullied them, and then they become mean and killers, right? Maybe the indigenous people here in the North America was like, oh, you got these little cow big feet. They're cool. And
How
they treat
much
them nice
later? Like, how
and
much?
test them as a
That's
Bigfoot.
quite a time jump there. I mean, like,
Is it?
what were they doing for all that thousands of years?
Just chilling.
Apparently, walking from Greece to
Right.
Alaska.
Hey, bro, there used to be a Bering Strait between Russia and North America. They could've
There still
walked all the way
is.
across.
Elon.
What do you
It's
think? Where'd it
underwater
go?
now. It's
Where-
underwater
where-
now, though.
It used
The
to be
land
there, but-
bridge. The land bridge used to be there. It's all
Oh,
underwater
no.
now.
Minotaurs could probably breathe underwater. Come
Yeah,
on.
obviously.
I mean,
Are you insane?
Cows are excellent swimmers, so I'm not sure where you're
I
going.
don't think that's true at all.
Whoa.
I said it.
Wow.
I said it.
I'm concerned with how fast he said that's it.
Yeah, yes.
What do you-
Hey,
I feel
I've
like
been pushing
on
cows in the lake.
one of Eli's
Against me.
weekend escapades of cow tipping, one accidentally fell in the
Into
local
water,
pond.
into-
Yeah, like
he brings them to like pools and he just tips them in to see.
listen.
Come on, Bessie. Paddle.
little
I'm a-
Zeke said, "Don't push him in the lake, Eli. Don't do it,
I would never. First off, I
He can
respect
swim.
cows.
Mama. Eli plumb pushed the cow in the lake."
Listen, I respect cows. We didn't even have a lake,
I
so I
respect
couldn't even
cows.
do that. All right, we didn't even have a lake.
Doesn't have to
You
be
didn't have a
it could be
lake.
pond.
You didn't have
We
water.
didn't have a pond.
You didn't have a body of water.
No.
A puddle.
All the water went to the Bering Strait.
Oh.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. The Bering Strait's underwater now, but it
I
used to
love
not.
how
said-
wound up you're
I just
getting.
like Eli brings the cow to the puddle, puts its feet in, tries to like.
Yeah.
Like this. Here, I'll show you. Like this. Come on, Bessie.
You know what? Coming from a guy who's just a floating head, I can take you serious.
Wow.
You can't touch the ghost, Dave.
I can touch your head.
He's like reverse Phantom Limb down there. Like,
Oh my god, you people! I
You
can't
The
even-
Descent.
We're the
What a great
worst.
movie.
I brought you a tale full of tragedy, scariness, cannibalism, and incest, and some witchery.
And this is how we thank
In
you.
a cave. This is how you thank me. This is how you
But
thank me.
ingrates, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I brought you the tale of Sawney Bean. Who else has done that for you in your life? Nobody.
Correct.
You're welcome. I'm not.
I
saying,
will say it's interesting, these stories that you're able to pull that are so obscure but also so relevant to the stuff that we've reviewed. It's
I'm
impressive.
I'm just that good.
Don't
just that
encourage
good.
him.
Whoa, that's whoa.
We got old Johnny Spleen and the Cannibal Band or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, we've had our candy lady moments.
They all played in the
They
cave.
made instruments in the cave like they're out of body parts and
Oh
stuff.
my god.
They're like, what should our band name be, Pa?
What's
No,
that?
we're old
Boingo
John.
Boingo? Dead Man Party? Wasn't that
The first two people came from civilization, right? Like the mom and the dad, the
Yeah, they made the
grandparents.
decision.
So, like, do you think they brought any like furniture in there with them in this cave, or like,
from
you
what
know,
I read,
like
it
they
sounds
came
like-
from,
I don't think they did because they were trying to get out of that town real fast.
so they got nothing. They just,
But they had whatever they stole from people,
Yeah.
whatever gear they
well,
were
they're
able
not
to-
stealing like a
probably
bed.
what they could carry, because it sounded like when they left, it wasn't like a hey, let's plan quietly our getaway. It was more of like a oh shit. They're not worried about me so much as you being a witch. We got to go.
So you're saying this isn't as much a Ocean's 11 kind of sophisticated robbery situation.
No, you literally have what you could call maybe this, these prolific killers, and their whole motivation to start was, we don't want real jobs.
They don't want to. They don't want to work. I still get it.
I
don't
would
want real
suggest
jobs.
that having to live in a dank cave for 25 years
It's
and
harder
kill
than-
people is a little harder than keeping a 9-to-5 going.
Well, apparently not them, because they that's the only job they were stuck with. They did that for 25 years.
I guess.
Well,
it's the
no,
old
their
rule.
kids took over. They were too old. 25 years, they're on their deathbed at that point, right?
he was still doing it 25 years. He had that
I mean, he was
belly full of man-made.
around. I mean, he
And
was
that
around, but I can't
cannibal
imagine.
I
strength.
can't imagine him doing it if he's dying at like 30. Like,
Well,
what?
he was probably
Yeah, he's not.
he died by a cut to bleed out.
But I'm saying that was old age. We were talking, he was in his old age of like, do we know what age he died?
No. Here's the other fun fact about this tale. This is actually kind of like a popular like legend in Scotland, stuff like that. Believe it or not, sometimes it is difficult to find proof that this happened.
Oh, really?
There's records. They're like
minute.
there's records. They're referring to it, but like that's kind of it.
So I go visit there on vacation. I can't walk around asking about Sean Bean. They'll like,
Well, they
they'll tell you about Sean Bean.
they're like, oh, Sean Bean. Oh, did you see Game of Thrones?
I like to think of him in Silent Hill
Oh yeah,
because of
that's
all
right.
things. Like, it's just a random.
He's
Like the
always
dad.
Boromir to me.
Yeah, he is always Boromir. You're right. You're right.
Gundor will see it done. What if he said that before he killed people and ate them?
He better not have. Oh, God.
Blasphemy.
This is quickly turning into rumors on the internet that Sean Bean is living in a cave.
He's like, I must live. Wait, what if he's a like direct descendant?
He
He just
isn't.
slightly changed his name.
I'm sorry. Did you do a 23andMe on him?
No, but I know that they all died according to the story you just told me.
Yeah, you literally
But
just told us
that
all
we
died.
know of.
Well,
Okay.
God is there.
Because what happens if they're like, how many of you are in here? And they're like, they know a couple got out. They're like,
They
"Oh,
hid
whatever
some. They
is
hid
in
some
here."
children in the sock drawers. They were
Tell
just
them,
like,
Young Sean, go and tell our story.
You must become an actor.
He's not Scottish, is he? Is he Scottish?
No, I think
Maybe
he's British.
Sean Connery. Maybe he was.
I know.
now we're just.
That's the
Now
Sean that
we're
we're
just putting
sticking
actors with.
Yeah, we're just.
I don't think.
We're just assigning
That's
them
not how names
But it
work.
has to be Sean. It has to be Sean.
to be a Sean.
You will carry the family name for all of your days.
Don't worry about Bean. It's the Sean. Keep
Yeah.
it
Doesn't work.
wandering.
Doesn't work, Trebek.
So are you thinking we should question every Sean if they've ever eaten human
I
meat?
probably would. Yeah.
Why, sure. Yeah. Why take the chance?
Just from here on out.
Hey,
There's really. What's the harm? It can't hurt not to.
let's play a fun little game to all of our listeners. Just leave us an iTunes comment and say if you're
Oh,
a Sean
no.
who's eating human meat. And we're definitely not going to turn you into the authorities. It's just a fun game we're playing.
You don't even have to say it. Just put Harry Tree as the comment, and we'll know it's you.
I don't know, actually don't, because then the podcast might get flagged for being like rated R or something. rated NC-17.
It is rated
Yeah,
R.
none of the other content we've just covered is going
I
to
was
do
gonna
that
say.
already.
What?
I think that ship has sailed, my
What are
friend.
you- listen, there has not been a single episode where I said something that you couldn't say in front of a child.
Wow.
Including
Well, just-
language, because mine definitely can't be.
Couldn't and should are two different things. Like, I mean, let's be clear here, Mr. Semantics. Like,
I mean, in this one episode, we've already talked about a family that lived in a cave for 25 years and practiced
Yeah.
incest.
I
I don't
feel
know
like
that I'm
I
going to go
don't-
tell that
listen,
story.
And
let's
8
be-
people.
I think they're past practicing and on to professional level. If we're being honest here.
Can you
Just
be a
saying, that's not
professional
a story
in
I want
that?
to explain
Well,
to my
when,
kids.
when you go from 2 to 45, I think you could be a professional.
You could be a professional. What makes someone a professional?
Numbers.
Just doing it
That
a
is not a
lot.
question you want to ask because he will answer you.
I'm man. I got 1,000.
And that's what we're
answers.
here for, right? To learn
So,
when you got your
knowledge.
own corner, that's when you're a professional. Hey, David. How are you? Nice
Wait.
to see you again.
I bet you Sheila would date Sean Bean.
John Bean.
Sheila would date one of the cave dwellers,
Yeah.
probably.
She probably was a cave dweller.
I remember this one time in the 60s, I lived in a cave for 25 years.
Did you eat people?
We're not going to get into that.
That's a yes.
Me and Tom Lean used to live in a cave.
Who's Tom Lane?
He was the cannibal fella.
Sean Bean. Or Sawney Bean. Man, you keep having me call him Sean Bean now.
no, Sean Allen. It was Sean Allen.
Sean
That's what
Allen.
it was.
Oh my god.
Alan Thicke.
I like how I started off saying his name correctly.
Like,
and now we
whatever.
just call him Sean Bean. We're gonna see just
I know.
Sean Bean. Could you quit telling people I'm an ancestral cave dweller animal?
Let's put it on the record. We recognize and affirm that Sean Bean, as far as we know, has never lived in a
As,
cave.
not as far as we know. Yeah.
I
yeah.
would ask you this question, Dave.
Nope.
Have you ever seen Sean Bean and Sawney Bean in the same room at the same time?
You mean the present day actor and the guy who died 500 years ago? No, I have not seen them.
Listen, if you're married to a witch, do you really think you're, tethered to the mortal coil like a normal person?
Yes, I do.
Well, that's a brave statement.
Is it though?
I mean, it doesn't seem like that brave of a statement.
I don't think it's a stretch.
I mean,
It's a brave statement.
what are the harms of making that statement? That's
What if witches come after him?
Oh, okay. Well,
Been there, done
They
that.
try to
It's
get you.
It's fine.
they try to. What was that on? Are you afraid of this? Or what we do in
What
the
We Do in the
shadows?
Shadows?
He's like, they try to get your semen or whatever. He's like, that's not good.
Well, I kept thinking when you were talking, we were talking like they had the skin and meat hanging from the walls, and I keep thinking What We Do in the Shadows, the witch's skin hat with the butthole that
Yeah.
puts their
Oh, yeah.
head.
The cursed hat.
The cursed hat. Do you think they had cursed hats in this cave? I bet you they did.
No,
I'm
I
sure
they
don't.
probably- that cave
they
was
probably
cursed.
had,
Well, everything, yeah.
they probably have butthole hats. They were
Yeah, because what else are they making their clothes out of? It's not like they go to market.
Well, there's lots of other.
I don't think
portions of
they're
the
wearing
human body You
clothes.
can make clothes out.
Yeah.
I don't think they're
Use more
wearing
high
clothes. They
priority.
don't care.
So not only were they robbing, murdering, and eating people,
they're naked while
they were
doing it.
Oh my god! Could you imagine if you're riding up the beach and just a deformed group of naked individuals? Like
You really thought this whole time they were getting clothing? Were they shopping in Hot Topic?
Yeah,
You?
yeah.
Like, what?
They had
in my
top
mind,
drip this
like they
whole
were
time.
like taking people's hair and like making clothes out of it.
That's what they did. They weren't taking the people's
Yeah.
clothes. They were
They were
taking their
taking their
hair and
Oh, I guess they would take their clothes then. Yeah, I guess you're right. So they are probably wearing their victim clothes. They did murder 1,000 of them, so they had some choices.
I don't really think there's
Again.
any point in putting on clothing when you're living in a cave and not leaving it any.
Do you want cave bugs up your butt crack? I wouldn't.
Why would they make a hair shirt? I don't like what.
Because I
Doesn't even make any
forgot that
sense,
the
like-
people they were murdering would have wore clothes.
But like that's where you went to
Everybody's naked
hair.
in this
You're
story.
like,
Yeah.
oh, there's the people have
Hair.
clothes, they have skin. I bet they'd make a shirt out of a hair.
Well, why
That's
would
the-
they? Why would they make clothes out of their skin when it's just gonna make them look like they're naked still?
That's what leather is. It's cow skin.
It
Yeah, but like cow
continues to
skin
blow my
doesn't look
mind.
like human skin.
What we're arguing over.
What points of these stories you all get hung up on?
The point is that they don't think they wasted time to even put on the clothes.
Yes.
They were naked. They were living
just
in this
not a
cave,
priority
and
for
all
them.
they were doing was having sex at all times. Why even put
Yeah,
the clothes
yeah,
on when they're
why
going to come
bother,
back
yeah.
off?
Because it's Scotland, it gets
True.
cold.
But they're-
You're Your logic is bulletproof.
Hey, they have
It gets
cold winters.
chilly up there.
Right, they put on their mittens, and that's it. Nothing
That's
else.
it.
Do you think their mittens are just?
They're like
They don't wear them on their hands,
like
though.
the ones that look
They
like
do not wear them on their
like-
hands. So
Like the ones you had when you were a little kid. They just couldn't grab anything.
But
the
they're-
boys need one mitten. Girls need two mittens. None of them are on hands.
None of them are on hands.
Oh god, they got to protect the important parts. That's
Exactly.
about it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Yeah, the parts that are shaped like the Kecksburg UFO.
You don't want to
Need a
mitten.
Those parts get a mitten.
Which part? Because Jeff and I we go back and forth on what we think it looks like.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
there's
that's right.
There's
Two
two
options.
distinct options.
That's what I'm saying.
God.
The girls get two mittens. Boys get...
They're not even covering the important
I
stuff.
was gonna say, I feel like the women got the raw deals. That's what they're covering up. Like,
Yeah, like
know?
it's
No,
Like,
they got to feed the babies.
I was gonna say they probably always have a baby attached.
probably-
Yeah, so they're doing it
You
with
got
the
two
baby.
babies like just running around like
wow. Is that baby noises?
Yeah, that's what
That
babies
sounds
sound
like a hurt primate.
I don't know. I think they all go.
Oh
My
my god,
God.
this is divulging
What has
chaos again. You're welcome. I'm an
Welcome.
agent of chaos. Ah! Oh my god. Wait,
Sorry,
on that
Sean
note,
Bean.
listen, don't apologize to him. Don't apologize to him.
Now you have
I
a
think,
grudge
Dave-
against Sean
a
Bean?
cannibal
No, but like,
apologist.
listen, when you got Sean Bean money, you've been in like every major franchise on the planet, Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones.
It's two.
I guess you could kind of argue Silent Hill,
Silent Hill, my God.
Frankenstein. He's done a couple Sherlock series. I could just keep going.
Could
Listen,
you?
yeah,
I don't think you could.
he don't give a shit. Sean Bean don't give a shit. He got
Okay.
Sean Bean money,
Sean Bean money.
and apparently he might have an ancestor as a cannibal. Not that you heard that here.
Oh my god.
Not that you heard that here.
This is my official statement. We are not saying that Sean Bean is related to Sawney Bean, but we're
It could
also
be.
not saying that they're not.
But they have the same last name. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
Although to Jeff, it's the male's first name. that follows
Yeah,
it. He's a Sean. That's all I'm
Sean,
saying.
he's a Sean.
I'm just saying, anybody out there listening, if you have some Sean's in your life, I would question.
Wait,
if you've ever-
I'm sorry, but I know I couldn't keep track of it the whole time. But the guy's name is Sawney, right?
Yeah, Sawney Bean. Yeah.
Not Sean. Okay.
But Jeff called him Sean Bean. And
It's
it's
I know.
Alexander
yeah,
Sawney
it's
Bean.
Alexander actually. Yeah,
yeah. But I think then I start calling him Sean Bean.
yeah.
I think
we
you
all.
called it correct once, and then Jeff totally took you off of it. Like, immediately the recording started. It was Shawnee Bean from that point on.
Hey, you know what?
But then I looked at the text message you sent, and I'm like, why are we talking about Sean Bean as a cannibal? I was like, did I miss that movie? I'm like,
Hey, that's why you get quality here at Campfire Tales.
that's one
Quality
word for it, I
stuff.
guess.
But hey, on that note, everybody, we appreciate you listening and learning all about the terrible things Sean Bean did.
No. The thoughts, views, and beliefs that were shared on this episode of Campfire
Do not
Tales
re-
do
do
not
not
represent the Wicked Wild Network, or any of our affiliates.
Which includes me, so I'm protected.
From what you say, I don't think that works that way.
Does in this world. But hey, if you enjoyed another Descent into Madness, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If it's Apple Podcasts, give us a review. Tell us how cool we are. Please tell Jeff and Jamie why my clothes theory was correct.
doesn't make any sense.
You can check us out on Twitter, which is Dave. I'll remember one of these days.
No, it was not Dave. It's Wicked Wild We Are on Twitter.
I see what you did there. You're
Yeah,
fine.
you could write it down.
I could.
Yeah, you
I
could
could.
try. You could put some
listen,
effort.
I mean,
Effort. Did you see all the information I presented you? You think I got room in this brain for things like my address, my birthday, my phone number? I don't.
Got to
Follow
remember
Eli.
Shawnee Bean.
Tell you about Shawnee Bean.
you can follow Eli at fineyoungcannibals.com.
I wouldn't Google that. I wouldn't Google that name.
Yeah,
Oh, that
please
was a
follow
band.
Eli
Find
at
Young
Sean
Cannibals.
Bean.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Army Hammer.
Oh! Arm and Hammer. Like the
Shots
detergent.
fired. Boo, 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 boo. Yeah,
What?
so I don't know.
What are you even saying?
Yeah, shots fired.
There you go, Jeff. What's your question? Shots fired. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god. Bye. On that note, everybody. Bye.